It's Tuesday, June 30th, 2020, and welcome to the reading of the Record Courier. My name is Pam, and let's begin today's reading with the area deaths. Michael D. Hartzler, age 52, a lifelong resident of Wayne County, passed away unexpectedly Sunday morning, June 28th, at Wadsworth Rittman Hospital. A memorial service will be held at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, July 1st at Martin's Mennonite Church in Orrville. Private family burial will take place at First Mennonite Church Cemetery in Wadsworth. Well, that concludes the Tuesday area death notices. Now, for our first article. Parents demand Ravenna schools improve by Krista Cano. As the Ravenna Board of Education met inside the high school Monday night, between 30 and 40 people stood on North Chestnut Street demanding they do better for Ravenna's children. Members of the group expressed concerns regarding the district's June 17th letter that they say lacked substance, a lack of Black history in the curriculum, low GPA eligibility, the lack of academic support for Black football players outside of the season, unequal discipline for Black and white students, and a lack of Black school employees. It's about the fact that the Ravenna City Schools have not consulted with anyone in the community on the letter they put out or the resolution they put out. We want to know if they're going to really stand behind what they're saying or if they're just doing it for show. We're here in solidarity as a community, standing for the education of our children, said Letitia Dukes, who organized the protest with Zadrani Longmire. On June 15th, Dukes wrote an email to Superintendent Dennis Honkala asking him to review the district's Black history curriculum, look at the numbers of Black and brown teachers and staff, and provide diversity training. Dukes also attached a copy of the letter written by Theodore Roosevelt High School principal Dennis Love in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. The following day, she sent a follow-up email that included statements from 2 more area organizations. It is disturbing to me that our district is waiting to meet with other agencies to speak on this issue. My question to you and the board is, do you not see that there are racial injustices that need to be addressed? Dukes wrote. On June 17th, Honkala responded, citing participation in the NAACP events, training regarding poverty and diversity, and year-long Black history lessons and activities. He said hiring minorities was a priority, but that many have left the district for better paying jobs. The next day, Honkala and the Board of Education provided a statement, quote, acknowledging the importance of equity and fairness in our schools and community, as unquote, as Duke points out, the letter did not include the words Black or African American. Dukes also asked to address the board at Monday's meeting, but was told she could not do so in person due to the coronavirus pandemic. Throughout the pandemic, the board has not allowed people to attend the meetings and has been live streaming the meeting to YouTube and Facebook, citing state guidelines against gatherings of 10 or more. Longmire and Dukes then organized a demonstration outside of the Board of Education meeting, during which the board was planning to pass a resolution condemning racism. One of the participants was Dukes' 12-year-old daughter, Jemiah, who said that she is only taught about Martin Luther King Jr. the day before Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and that she has received no other information about Black history. I'm expecting that they will bring in anti-racism training for all of their staff, that they will change curriculum to include Black history, because it's very important for our children to know that they are a part of the history of this country and that they helped to build this country. I'm hoping they'll start listening to the community, Dukes said. Longmire said she wants the district to raise the GPA eligibility requirements for any extracurricular participation. The past school year, the district minimum grade point average was 1.0. It will be 1.25 in the coming year and 1.5 in all subsequent years. Longmire said this is not enough because that still allows students to play sports if they receive an F. She added that she felt that her son, Isaiah Calhoun, a recent Ravenna graduate and football player, was only academically supported during football season and that he was forgotten during the spring. Longmire suggested at least a 2.1 with no Fs to be able to play. Some of the kids here are good enough to be in the NFL, but they can't even get into a junior college. We have to be better. It's way too much talent for this to happen, Longmire said. Wesley Ransom, a Ravenna parent, agreed that GPA should be raised and said that the group must keep pushing the board until there is a change. Our school board is supposed to represent the interests of the people they serve, and we want to make sure our children are getting the best education possible, and the people we're entrusting to give that education to them should have the same concerns, Ransom said. Well, that ends that article. Let's move on. Portage Jobless Office reopens by Diane Smith. People could finally apply for unemployment benefits in person on Monday after Portage County's Ohio Means Jobs office reopened after closing its door through the bulk of the coronavirus pandemic, which forced many people off the payroll. Mandy Bernardinelli, head of the Ohio Means Job Office, said the office is only open from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., so employees can sanitize and clean the resource center. It was nice to have the doors open to the public again, she said. There were not long lines when the doors unlocked at 9, but we did have a couple people right away. She said the people had questions about unemployment or had issues about filing for unemployment. She said 5 people went there in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. In March, the Portage County Department of Job and Family Services closed its offices to the public. Clients were provided with websites and phone numbers and were encouraged to do their business online if possible. Because wait times on the telephone can be more than an hour, people were encouraged also to apply online. While there weren't overwhelming numbers of people here in person, the phone was ringing to ask if or when we would reopen. So I think the word is starting to get out, she said. My guess is we will see these numbers increase over the next week as folks realize we're open for in-person business again. Those we did serve were very appreciative for the personal contact. The office opens as Portage County still has high unemployment numbers, although not as high as the state and the nation. Portage County had 11.1% unemployed compared to 13.3% in Ohio and 13.1% in the nation. Akron at 12.4%, Canton at 12.7%, and Cleveland at 17.1% all had higher jobless rates than Portage. Other JFS services remain closed to the public. People who need to access services should check the agency's website, which is co.portage.oh.us/JFS, or its Facebook page at facebook.com/PCJFS for information. Bernelli said people don't have to visit the office because they can help people on the phone or by email. If folks still aren't comfortable coming into the center, they can give us a call at 330-296-2841, and we can arrange for virtual services, she said. This next article is titled Kent State's Phase 2 Reopening to Start July 6th. Kent State is continuing its gradual return to campus, and July 6th marks the beginning of Phase 2 of the university's reopening plan. In a letter to the KSU community on Monday, Reopening Steering Committee Chair Manfred Van Dolman said that during Phase 2, Summer 1 and Summer 2 classes will continue through remote instruction, and the majority of Summer 3 classes will be remote as well. Summer 3 begins July 9, and only a few classes will be offered in person. Employees needed to maintain current campus operations will be on Kent's campuses, and faculty and staff whose work directly supports the return of students will have a staggered return. Select student workers may also be on campus, as will more researchers and artists whose requests were approved by the Division of Research and sponsored programs. Kent State University libraries will begin curbside pickup on July 6th. Student athletes and the athletic staff will continue their phased return to activities. The final fall course schedule is expected to be released on Tuesday. Van Dolman previously said that at least 60% of the courses would be held remotely. To keep the community healthy, Cleaning efforts across the university have been enhanced and will now include a twice-daily deep cleaning of restrooms and classrooms using Environmental Protection Agency-approved disinfectants for killing the COVID-19 virus. Custodians will also clean touch points frequently throughout their shifts. In addition, during the month of July, signage will appear in buildings across campus to remind members of the university community to adhere to the Flash's Safe 7 principles, including wearing face mask coverings and physical distancing. Van Dolman said that even with best effort cases of COVID-19 likely will occur within the Kent State community, be assured the university is coordinating with local health officials and is prepared to respond with contact tracing, testing, and quarantine isolation plans. Oops. An entire residence hall on the perimeter campus has already been reserved for use by students living on campus who may require isolation or quarantine, and Kent State has established a COVID-19 response team to manage and trace the effects of the virus on all Kent State campuses. This team is coordinating with local authorities and developing a system for students, faculty, and staff to report cases of the virus or potential exposure, and a strategy to inform the university community. Additionally, Kent State is renovating its University Health Services building to have an on-campus testing. It will also have self-test kits available for members of the university community who want to be tested for COVID-19 from their home through a virtual appointment with a medical provider. Our next article is Waterloo to purchase 900 tablets with federal funds by Chris Cano. Every Waterloo student will have their own Chromebook next school year. On Tuesday morning, the district purchased 900 Chromebooks at $179 per unit for a total of $161,100. Much of that cost will be offset by the $130,680.08 the district is eligible for through the CARES Act federal funding. We've had 8 or 9 different options to use CARES funding, but to me, and I think you agree, the one that impacts the most is the Chromebooks, Superintendent Sean Bramans told the Board of Education. It's something we're excited about, and it's something I've been wanting to do since I got here. Like other districts in the state, Waterloo shut down on March 17th due to the coronavirus pandemic and had to quickly transition to remote learning. In mid-April, Brahman said the district was unable to give students tablets because we don't have the technology capabilities to hand them out right now. We've been exploring different options to get that, but we're not there yet. We're unfortunately severely disadvantaged financially compared to other districts. At the time, he estimated that 70% to 80% of the students had some kind of internet access. A 2019 analysis of census data by the Associated Press found that about 20% of households in the district did not have broadband, 8% did not have internet, and 11% did not have some type of device. The analysis did not differentiate between households with school-aged children and those without. The district is now conducting its own survey to determine students' connectivity, as the Chromebooks do not come with a data plan. Brahman said that the district is looking into expanding their internet access to the parking lot, should the district have to operate remotely in the upcoming year. Brahman added that expanding the Wi-Fi's radius would be cheaper than purchasing individual hotspots. Kent City Schools recently went that route, leasing 200 hotspots at an annual cost of $48,000. Waterloo administrators are developing multiple contingency plans to start the school year, including a regular return, a fully remote learning model, and a hybrid model. Bremen noted that Governor Mike DeWine was supposed to make an announcement about the start of the school last week, but pushed it to this week. Still, he plans to provide a rough draft of the plans to the school board by the end of the week. I think no matter what next school year looks like, we're in a much better position to effectively use the Chromebooks. I think even if everything is great and we come back with no restraints, we'll have that tool and can steadily improve the whole program. They can be used for assignments, calamity days, and so many things to come, Board President Brian Pusateri said. This next article is entitled Petition Calls for Ban of the Confederate Flag at the Portage Fair by Krista S. Cano. A week-old petition calling for the Portage County Randolph Fair to ban the display and sale of the Confederate flag already has several hundred signatures, according to Portage County Young Democrats, the group that initiated it. Since its conception in 1861, the Confederate flag has been a symbol of racism and oppression in the United States. The Confederate flag represents the history of a society that was built and thrived on slavery and that fought and died to maintain that way of life, the petition reads. The petition also notes that the Ohio State Fair banned the display and sale of the Confederate flag in 2015 and urges the Portage Fair Board to do the same. Should the Randolph Fair continue to allow the Confederate flag to be displayed and sold, the board sides with a time in history that worked to systematically oppress and dehumanize people of color in the United States. Further, by not removing the Confederate flag, the fair sends a clear message to our junior fair members that these dated images and symbols of racism and oppression are acceptable. We find ourselves at a crossroad and are forced to make considerations as to which side of history we, as a society, fall on. A side that works to uphold and perpetuate symbols of oppression and hate, or a side that takes a stand in denouncing racism in the United States, it reads. Fair Board President Tracy Kozlowska did not respond to a request for comment. PCYD President Christopher Clevenger Morris said that he has lived in the county for over a decade and has been a regular attendee, volunteer, and vendor at the fair. In an email, he clarified that the group is calling for the ban of the Confederate battle flag. Over the last 10 years, I've personally witnessed not only the display of the flag by some vendors and participants, but also the sale of the Confederate flag and other materials like stickers, hats, and clothing. It is not uncommon to find these items at the Randolph Fair, he said. PCYD started to discuss the petition after State Representative Juanita Brent, Democrat from Cleveland, submitted an amendment to prohibit the sale and display of Confederate flags at county fairs in early June. The amendment was defeated 56-34, with Republican lawmakers saying that the Confederate flag is protected as free speech. Unfortunately, the GOP majority in Columbus chose not to take action on this issue, calling instead on local authorities to take action. Per their recommendation, we will be forwarding our petition to the Randolph Fair Board, Clevenger Morris said. He added that the PCYD has shared the petition with its members and the greater Portage County community. Recently, NASCAR banned the presence of Confederate battle flags from all events, races, and properties. Last week, the Medina County Fair Board considered the display and sale of the Confederate flag, but a motion to ban it was not introduced. Instead, the chairperson of the Outside Concessions Committee spoke to vendors who voluntarily agreed not to sell or display Confederate flags at the Medina County Fair August 3 through 9. As of Friday, the Young Democrats had not met with Kozlowska, but said they plan to share the petition in the near future. Clevenger Morris said the goal is to keep the petition open on the group's website, www.portageyd.org, for the next few weeks and provide all signed copies to Kozlowska and the Fair Board prior to their August 5th board meeting. The fair is scheduled to run August 25th through the 30th, but will only include the junior fair due to the coronavirus pandemic. Well, let's move on to Rootstown Team Wins State Award. Local 4-H member Jillian Anderson of Rootstown was recognized with the Clothing and Textile Achievement Award at the 2020 Ohio 4-H Achievement Awards, which were presented recently during a virtual recognition program. The award was sponsored by the Huffman family. The 4-H Achievement Awards are awarded annually to an outstanding individual in a particular project area for the state of Ohio. Jillian Anderson, 16, daughter of Bill and Kelly Anderson, is a sophomore at Rootstown High School and has been a 4-H member in Portage County for 6 years. Specializing in clothing and textiles, she has gained many life skills and leadership skills that she uses daily and will continue to use in her career in psychology. She attributes her success to the support given to her by her club, the Edinburgh Seambusters. Jillian has loved every second she has been in 4-H and looks forward to making the most of her last 2 years in 4-H. The recognition program was hosted by the Ohio 4-H Foundation. Ohio 4-H is the youth development program of Ohio State University Extension, with more than 171,000 young Ohioans participating in 4-H clubs, groups, and special interest programs. Moving on. Tom Nader wins awards from Ohio Prep Sports Writers Association. Record Courier sports correspondent and former sports editor Tom Nader earned the Writer of the Year award by the Ohio Prep Sports Writer Association. In the Division II category, newspapers with a daily circulation between 10,000 and 25,000, Nader was awarded the Best Feature Story and Best Column in Division II by judges and was runner-up for Best Game Story and Best News Story. Other sports writers of the area were John Spencer of the Mansfield News Journal, Rob McCurdy of the Marion Star, and Jared Utley of Columbus This Week newspapers. This next article, titled Cleveland Smile Center Celebrates Aurora Office by Bob Gachins. 3 generations of dentists have developed a partnership recently to create the Cleveland Smile Center. The center recently celebrated its opening of its Aurora office with a ribbon-cutting ceremony with representatives from the city and Aurora Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. But according to Dr. Daniel Glick, the office has technically been open since September last year. We're hoping to have another center open by the end of this year, he added. We do all types of dentistries for little kids to adults. Services offered include everything from routine cleaning to orthodontics, cosmetic dentistry, and oral surgery such as extractions and sinus lifts, according to the center's website. Dr. Sidney Glick, Daniel's father and an Aurora resident, and Dr. Sam Glick, Daniel's son, co-own the business, which opens its first office in Cuyahoga Falls in February 2019. Sidney graduated dental school in 1960. Daniel in 1988, and Sam in 2017, says Daniel. Holly Harris Bain, the city's economic development director, welcomed the practice to town. In the city of Aurora, we're especially excited because of your commitment to community engagement through the America's Tooth Fairy program and also teaching at Case Western Reserve University. And we also want you to teach at Neomed in the future, she said. The Aurora office, located at 160 West Garfield Road, was previously Dental Care of Aurora, and Daniel said the Cleveland Smile Center has upgraded much of the equipment. Everything is scanned digitally and sent to the lab same day, he said, adding all the old x-ray equipment has been replaced with digital equipment. There's no more need for patients to have film wedged in their mouths to get pictures. Those changes and equipment in exam rooms were updated in both Cuyahoga Falls and Aurora, he added. Also, Daniel said Sam has been offering teledentistry, which is good for consultations and second opinions. Patients can send photos of the insides of their mouth to help provide information for Sam to refer to in teledentistry appointments. My next article is titled Waterloo Stadium Teardown is Complete. The Viking Stadium has been torn down with the exception of one section of bleachers. Last week, 3 community members who work in construction but wish to remain anonymous dismantled most of the grandstand, the concession stand, and the press box after they were found to be structurally unsound last summer. The still standing section was deemed to be safe. The community members donated all time and materials at no cost to the district and were bonded and insured, so there was no risk to the district, Superintendent Sean Brayman said. The volunteers are planning to sell the scrap and donate the money back to the school. District officials are now planning to speak with local businesses to see if they would be willing to assist in purchasing new bleachers. We've heard there's willingness, but they're waiting for us to get it done. We'll meet with them and make plans for the next step, Brayman said. Well, that concludes the Record Courier for Tuesday, Monday, June 29th. This is Pam saying please stay safe until we're back with you again.